very indulgent and whatever.
What inspired you to write script?
My own life. I made my first film back in 2000. It was banned. I could not understand why, because censor boards told me the film does not have a social message, all characters are negative, it is not a healthy entertainer. And I was at that time I was 26, and I walk around with a school bag. I still have that. So they thought I must be some kind of a rich kid who's got money to make a film. And he's got this attitude that he can get away with anything. The man at the censor board told me that, what do you think cinema is? I said, what do you think that cinema is to you? And he said, cinema is healthy entertainment. Your film is neither healthy nor entertainment. Why did you make it? And there are lots of problems. The film is not yet released. I tried to make my second film. It never kind of took off. My third film got stalled. My fourth film again got banned. So I started making films in 1999, 2000. I had my first release last year. By then I had made 3 films and 2 stalled films. And when I wrote this film, none of them had released. This was written in 2006. The whole film, for me, my interpretations and my metaphors are very juvenile. In the sense that, for me, this film was also a reaction to, that was the time when Ramadas had asked for a ban of smoking on screen. And for me, I'm a smoker, I smoke. And I will not give it up. But the thing was, for me, the idea of a man smoking on the street was an image of like that is also of a man who feels free. It's an image of freedom. And, the fingers, I still write with my pen. I still do not use the laptop. But the fingers with which you hold your cigarettes is also the fingers with which you hold the pen. So for me, cutting off those fingers means not letting you write. It's freedom of expression. Every time I was direct, I was banned. So I thought this time I'm going to be indirect. This time I'm going to let the world believe that this is a film about anti-smoking. That was the whole idea. Every film is everything. There comes a time when you're trying to make a film, it's not getting released. Your family who loves you, they're worried about you. My father would call me up and say, "Beta, love story banate." You go through things like that, which is why you have this man. And I have always been perceived as an arrogant asshole in the industry. So which is why there was an option that I could have made the character sympathetic. John's character K could have been sympathetic. But because I was perceived like that, so I said, okay, let's make this character the way I am perceived in the industry. Let him be arrogant, let him be the man that nobody likes. But a man that nobody likes, he also has a right to be what he wants to be. So that was the whole idea of it. And then just smoking becoming a metaphor, it became a very personal movie. And the end portion where things are not explained, it was also because I never could understand what was going on in my life. So I thought let the audience also feel the same thing.
The film constantly reminds of Kafka.
There's a lot of... See, I'll tell you, there's one very strange thing that happened with me. I was born in Banaras and I studied in school. I spoke Hindi all my life. And I used to only read Hindi literature. And when I came to college, the first piece of literature that I read in English was Kafka's Trial. Without reading the Sidney Sheldons and the Jeffrey Archers and the Enid Blytons, first thing I read was Kafka's Trial. I never could understand it, but it never left me.
Therefore, the Kafka's Trial, it reflects and
it is because, it's very Kafkaesque. I'm saying if you work in any kind of a system, it's very Kafkaesque. You don't know what the hell is going on. You can't figure it out. And you don't know what is wrong with you. For me, I could not understand why Black Friday was banned. I could not understand if a book could exist, why the film can't come out. I could not understand why Panch was banned. I could not understand why could not I make Gulal. My whole problem was, why can't I say what I want to say as long as I'm not harming other people? I'm just speaking up. So what is wrong with speaking up? But there came a point where it was so bad that everybody told me something is wrong with you. The industry is very superstitious. They said you are jinxed. Aapki nakshatra kharab hai. Aap ye karo. And literally I ended up doing it. They said Shani ki parikrama kariye. Maine lungi pehn ke Shani ki parikrama. I did everything they told me to do, but my film didn't release. So I could not understand what I was going through. So which is why, it just, somehow, it was not meant to be a film so personal, but it became that. It is very Kafka. The whole reference of the character being called K could be for Kafka, K could also be for Kashyap, K could also be for Karan Johar.
The language of the film is very complex. The format is it's not easy accessible to me. It's not accessible. So my question is, why did you use John Ibrahim, Aisha, and Vipasha in a very catchy form? When you know that this format is not very easy accessible to the normal audience, then why Ibrahim is there? Why the catchy music is there?
See, there are 2-3 things. The first thing, why John Abraham is there, because I wanted a film that could get released. There's no other reason. And also, he's the only man who understood this. And everything else involved with the film is precisely that I wanted to make a film that should get released. There's no other reason. And somehow while I was making the film, I never spoke what I intended to do with this film. But John Abraham is the only man who understood it. How much you not want to give him credit, but I give him that much credit. That man understood the film, he stood by the film, he still stands by it. Huh? See, the publicity and the marketing of the film is always the producer. The film was finished in January, it released in October. Nobody knew how to market a film like this. I think somewhere the distributors and everyone decided that this film is not going to make any money.
What songs are there in the film is there just falls apart?
No, I think you need to sit with the songs a lot more. I think all the songs are very anti-smoking and pro-smoking at the same time. It depends on how you interpret them. I think the most clever lyrics written by Gulzar. You spend more time with them, you'll find new meanings based on your own experience. The thing is, there's nothing else that I was thinking. Rajiv is there. Rajiv, please come upstairs.
Sir, again!
He's very shy and he doesn't talk to you.
Personal question.
So,
Yeah. Question. Personal one. You said you are from Banaras. So from which school and from which college? Because I am also from Banaras.
no, I have studied all over the place. The reason why I'm like this is probably because I never stayed in a school for a long time. I'm very screwed up in the head. But I think, I've been in boarding school all my life.
So say Ustad Bismillah Khan says about Banaras. Bana hua ras. So that is the influence you have got.
I don't know. Actually, if you ask me, I discovered Banaras much later in life. I lived there, so when you are used to something around you, you don't see what's so special about it. I actually saw Banaras when I stayed away from it for a long time and I came back. I had never seen the Ghats till I was 21. Living in Banaras. It is a lot of things are kind of, in the sense, when you are in the industry, I've been famous for being infamous, in the sense that anything I do, because I speak up and because I speak my mind, I've been controversial, and anything that I say gets reported in the papers. I might file false sick because my maid, some things, it gets reported in the paper. It's like almost nothing is private and personal to you. There comes a point where everything you do is in the papers. I can't have a life of my own. And even my depression became public. I became an alcoholic for a while. I was just completely depressed and locked in a room drinking. That became public. All those things became public. It was almost embarrassing to deal after a point, because whatever you do, at the end of the day, you feel like your parents, you want to keep them away from what you're going through, because they get worried about you. So that's how everything came in. See, the whole idea was that, people have this unnecessary interest in you, for God knows what reason, probably because they don't have anything else to do. And they keep an eye out on you, and they're watching you all the time. It just all came in from that point of view. And you never know who's the one who's talking, because every time you read in the paper about yourself, it's always a source close to the person. It's always a friend close to the person, and that person is never named. So that was the